All right, so I'm here with...
I'm Andrew.
And what do you do for a living, Andrew?
I'm a product lead at a big tech company.
How did you get into being a product lead?
A lot of networking, building relationships, experimentation, side projects, that sort of thing.
Okay, and did you study? If so, what?
Yeah, I studied at U of T. I did the Rotman program. I did finance and economics.
What made you transition from doing finance, economics into going into tech?
I tried a lot of different things in school. I tried a lot of things outside, after school. The tech sort of lifestyle, the type of work that the tech companies do really resonated with me. I really loved that kind of work, and so I made a very intentional pivot to go into tech.
And how much do you make as a product lead?
Between 6 and 7 figures a year.
And how many years of experience do you have?
5 years.
What advice would you give to someone that wants to follow your path and go into tech?
Yeah, I would say a couple of things. So one is meet a lot of people, build a lot of relationships, talk to people, understand their career journeys, the whys and the hows of what they did, and also along the way, sort of help them out a little bit, and that's sort of how you build your network. I would say do a lot of experiments, try a lot of side projects. Every year, spend 6 to 8 months trying something, and if it works, double down on it. If not, just try the next thing. And then the last thing is figure out what you're really good at and what sort of naturally energizes you. Really lean into that and use those strengths to sort of build something for yourself.
All right, so I'm here with
Stephanie.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm an assistant prof, and I'm also a physician. I do addiction medicine and family medicine.
How much are you making now as a physician and a professor?
So I make anywhere between $350 to $450K.
I know that going to med school and just doing the path to get to the point you're at carries a lot of debt. How much debt did you graduate with, and how did you pay it off if you did?
Yeah, so I graduated with around $100K in debt. During medical school, I got a lot of grants and bursaries, but I also worked part-time as well, and that definitely helped. I got roommates, or I tried to commute as much as I can. So yes, I graduated with about $100K in debt, and that was a while ago. And then when I became a staff physician, so you graduated everything, you're finally working, I really went hard on trying to pay down that debt. Luckily, I was able to, because I was fortunate enough to be making enough income and putting all that income into that debt. And I try to live very frugally as well. I lived with housemates, even though I was a staff physician, and I also really try to save up whenever I can.
All right, so I'm here with
Jason.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a freelance video editor and a part-time college professor. And on the side, I do a little bit of on-camera hosting and voice acting.
And how did you get into doing all this?
The video editing started after I left an IT career because I was absolutely miserable. IT is one of those careers where sometimes, depending on what your job is, you will never have a good day. And it's one of those things where you're only taking things away from people. Like, you're coming in, it's like, oh, we're going to take your computer and here's a new one and you're going to hate it. So that was just how it every day was. You never have that day where everyone's happy to see you, So I ended up transitioning into video editing, just trying it one summer and then loving it. So I went into going to film school. And from there, I just kind of started doing jobs and freelance gigs and eventually just kind of landed where I'm at now. And I happened to develop my motion graphics artist skills. So I got hired to teach that at my school, Durham College.
With all your endeavors, how much are you making?
Depending on how many gigs there are a year, probably around 50 to 70,000 a year.
How many years of experience do you have?
Oh gosh, how old am I? Probably about 10 or 11 years now.
What's your favorite thing about being a video editor and teaching?
Being a video editor, I love having that creative control of how the pacing of a project goes. I love seeing just what story we can tell, how we can tell it, because there's a saying that the editor of a film is the secondary director. And there's truth to that. As far as teaching goes, I love seeing people learn something and see them slowly start to grasp the idea.
And what advice would you give to someone that wants to do motion graphics and become a video editor?
I would say look at what your favorite creators are doing. Watch their pacing, watch how they tell the story, watch how even they inflect when they're talking, because when you're making a video, all those elements come together. The music, the sound effects, the picture, everything, the motion graphics. So if that's the case, you should just look at what creators you like are doing and copy it for the time being, but try to develop on your own why you think those things work. And look up tutorials. There's great tutorials on YouTube on how to do good video editing, how to do good motion graphics. So there's plenty of tools out there to kind of start your journey and start learning.
All right, so I'm here with
Shivani Karwal.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm the founder of Cosmetics, which is a cruelty-free and vegan cosmetics company.
And how did you get into this?
It actually started off as a fun sort of kitchen experiment, and later on, of course, we worked with the cosmetic chemist to really refine the formulas before they went live.
And what were you doing at the time?
I was doing SEO. I was a search engine optimization manager for Rogers.
How did you initially start your business?
Just posting on social media consistently. Of course, we started off with 0 followers and it was like really, really slow at the beginning, but just consistently posting on all the different social media platforms and running ads, sending the products out to influencers, things like that.
How much is your business making?
So last year, 2022, we did a little over $500,000 in sales.
And what advice would you give to someone that wants to quit their 9 to 5, start their business, or go into like the makeup industry?
So don't quit your day job too early. Even though it's a lot more difficult to do your job and your business, it's also a blessing because you don't have to worry about the finances. So, keep your day job. I actually did my day job for like the first year and a half while I was doing my business. And I kind of made like a plan for myself for quitting my day job where I paid myself a salary from my business, which was equivalent to my day job salary for 6 consistent months before I quit my job.
And what's your favorite thing about running your own business?
The freedom for sure, and really just getting like really good customer feedback, the DMs, the emails, being tagged in all the different photos that people tag us in on socials where they've done like all these different looks using our products, and yeah, really just like the flexibility. Like last year, I was able to take 3 different international trips, which for sure was not possible when I was still doing my day job.
All right, so I'm here with
Sahil.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a real estate investor for the last 12 years.
How did you get into being a real estate investor?
First generation immigrant. I came here, did university, went straight to Wall Street, cut into real estate, and now I've been doing that for 12 years.
How did you start? Like, how did you get that first property?
So first property I bought, I actually lived in the basement and I rented out the first floor to someone else, and that guy was paying my mortgage. So initially it felt like it was a good hack, and then it felt like a good business model. So I just kept going from there, and now I own 17 properties.
From that first property, how did you scale?
A lot of leveraging, a lot of joint venture partnerships, a lot of research, a lot of finding undervalued properties and, putting the work in, and that's kind of how it scaled over time, and market also helped.
And how much are you making doing real estate investing?
So I'm also a real estate agent. So I'm a diamond agent for typically range between $500 to $1 million a year in real estate sales, and then whatever rental income my rental properties generate.
So what advice would you give to someone that wants to buy that first home to get their investment journey started?
Well, first of all, make sure that your credit and finances are always in order. If you can't buy it right away, at least have a plan. And another really good way is to just find somebody who has similar goals, and you combine together and you find something. 50% of something is better than 0% of nothing.
What made you decide on real estate? Why did you choose that path?
Well, I was in financing before working in investment banking, and I just hated it. And I wanted to get into something that's a bit more like sales and a bit more on the road. And honestly, once you find something that you love, you don't have to feel like you're working all the time. And real estate just really resonated with me that way.
I'm a pediatric allergist.
And what does that mean for those who don't know?
So basically, I'm a medical doctor that specializes in seeing kids that have allergies.
How did you get into this?
I always knew I wanted to work with kids, so I wanted to be a pediatrician, and I personally have 1,000,001 allergies, so I was like, got to take care of these and empathize with the patients.
And what does a day in the life look like for you at work?
So because I'm in private practice, I can pick my hours. So I typically start work around 9 and I'm done at 4. And I see patients kind of every 15 to 20 minutes and skin test them and diagnose them with allergies.
I see. And how much do you make?
So the range is about 400,000 to 500,000, but I am fee for service. So the more you work, the more you'll make.
And how many years of experience do you have?
So I've been in allergy for 5 years now. So yeah, it's been a long time. Wow.
And I know the route you took incurs a lot of debt. So how much did you graduate with, and how did you pay it off if you did?
Most medical doctors will graduate with about $150,000 of debt. I personally modeled for most of my life, so I was able to reduce that load to about $80,000, thank God.
And are you still modeling?
Yes, I am. I do it kind of 10% of the time, but I'm definitely an active model, like Sephora, Shoppers Drug Mart, things like that.
Okay, that's pretty cool. And what advice would you give for future MDs?
For MDs everywhere, first of all, it's a long road, but if you're persistent and you work hard, you can achieve it. And also when you're in your training, try your best to kind of save up as much as you can, have roommates, take the subway, and so that your debt isn't as huge as normally it is.
All right, so I'm here with
May.
And what do you do for a living, May?
I'm a server.
And how much do you make as a server?
I make 15 in an hour.
Yeah.
So around 2 weeks I make 1,200.
Is that with or without tips?
Without tips. Okay. Yeah, I double my payment with tips.
What are your thoughts on tipping? There's some people that don't think that we should tip servers here in Canada because they make a minimum wage. What do you think about that?
If it weren't for the tips, I wouldn't be making enough to live, to be honest. Honestly, I totally understand if you don't have enough money to tip, you want to go out and still don't have that much money to tip. I totally understand that. But if you're not tipping because you think that we make enough, you're wrong. You're so wrong. So, tip if you can, please help us. But if you don't have enough money and you just want to have a good time, that's okay. Just don't be rude about it.
Yeah.
That's it.
GOP.
And what do you do for a living?
I work in addictions and mental health. I work in outreach, so I'm out on the streets just helping vulnerable population.
How did you get into doing this?
Bro, it was random. I'm studying neuroscience and psych, and I wanted something in that area, so then I just applied for a nonprofit. It's been great.
How much do you make doing that?
Just under 60K a year.
And what's your favorite thing about what you do?
The gratification of, you're there to help clients. I've had times where clients actually are no longer homeless and are housed again, so.
You're getting paid and helping people.
And helping people, man. That's all you can ask for, right?